Hi, it's Guy from Age Safe Products. Today I'd like to discuss a little bit about the proper installation of the KRS-80 series locks. There's no way to give you an exact procedure step by step. This is exactly what you should do because every cabinet is going to be different. You might have a metal cabinet, you might have a wood cabinet. You might want to put it on a drawer, you might want to put it in a filing cabinet. So I don't know that, no one else knows that except yourself. So these are some ideas of how to install a cabinet lock using the KRS-80 series product line. The basic lock, the KRS-80A, has a number of things in the kit that you would receive if you purchased it. It has the basic lock, and all lock bodies are identical in size. Just the function changes from lock style to lock style, but the body itself is the same in all of our locks. You will also receive an A-style pin assembly, the locking pin assembly, which goes into the lock and then locks the door or drawer closed. You will receive a hardware kit, and you will receive 2 RFID cards, master and user. These are pre-programmed. We do that to guarantee that the lock was working when we actually shipped it to you so that you don't have any problems. And it comes in initially set. If you change the mode, follow the instructions, you will have to reprogram the user card if you change the mode of the lock. But it comes pre-programmed for the mode just for our test purposes. The lock body itself has 4 countersunk holes for wood screws. The kit has 4 wood screws, about a number 5 wood screw that will go through and screw the body to a cabinet door or the sidewall of a cabinet, however you want to install it. The lock bodies also have metric captive nuts, number 4 metric nuts built into the lock body itself, and there are 4 countersunk screws for that if you're putting it into a metal cabinet, like a locker or a metal drawer or something to that effect. The locking pin is designed, it has 2 holes for mounting. The kit comes with 2 wood screws. If you end up putting it into a metal cabinet, you're going to have to supply some hardware for metal. The kit comes with 2 wood screws. It also comes with 2 screws for the battery compartment. It is actually optional. You don't have to screw the battery compartment down if you don't want to. But one of the screws is a countersunk, the other one is a thumb screw. So if you want to screw the cabinet down so that if you are closing a door with any force or anything, you don't accidentally dislodge a battery and then lose your power, I'd recommend closing up that battery compartment so that it doesn't accidentally pop loose. That is what every kit basically has in it, and the only difference from one kit to another is if you get into a lock that has an external reader to it. The lock body itself is identical, so that part stays the same. But you will have to contend with whatever the external reader is, whether it is an external RFID reader, such as our Model F. It has a cable, external reader, takes a 1-inch hole, and then it just snaps in. The reader does have a USB port on for external power if the batteries do die. Or you may also be looking at a fingerprint reader, and the fingerprint reader This is the recessed reader. This fits flush to a cabinet, or whether it's metal or wood. And then there are metal plates in this version to sandwich the reader to the door. And there is a plate for the panel. This one is optional. You don't have to use it. The plate for the reader isn't optional. That's what actually screws and secures the fingerprint reader to the cabinet that you're installing the lock on. It also has an RFID power port, so if you do run out of battery power, you can still get back into the system. I'm going to do a cutaway and show you an installation of a standard RFID, showing you that everything has to be in the right plane, meaning the locking pin assembly has to be lined up properly with the lock body, so that when the door swings closed or the drawer pushes back, everything lines up and it works the way it's supposed to. What we're looking at is a basically standard raised panel 3/4 inch framed cabinet, wood cabinet obviously. You notice I had put some green painter's tape on the cabinet, on the face frame, and on the door itself. And I have put a center mark so that I know where the locking pin is going to be and where the lock body is going to be. The only thing I haven't done yet is determine where does the door intersect the frame. And the easiest way to do that is simply draw a line. Once you have that line, now you can open the cabinet and you can see where the door intersects the frame of the cabinet itself. So I'll move the camera around a little bit and we'll take a little closer peek at the mounting of the locking pin. This is an E-style. And you can see the center line that I had established for both goes into the center line of the locking pin. And then when we go back to the cabinet and look at the lock body itself, you're going to notice that the center of the lock port, the hole that the locking pin goes through to be physically locked down, is at the center line. We also took the measurement of what this offset is, and that's where we could then figure out by the width of the locking pin plus that offset of the door where the lock body and the pin is going to intersect. Now, because virtually all standard wood frames on the cabinets have a gap between the outside wall of the cabinet and the inside edge of the frame, you have to compensate that with a filler piece. I generally use, if not plywood, if I have it around, or a simple pine board cut to the size of the lock. You can cut it to whatever size you want. If you want to cut it oversized, it makes no difference. I glue and clamp it, let it sit overnight, and then the 4 wood screws mount the lock into the piece of wood that we use to fill in that gap necessary to have the locking pin be in the same plane as the lock body itself. If you do not want to bring the lock body out any further, then you're going to be forced to notch out a pretty good size area of this cabinet rail. So that's totally up to you. I generally feel it's easier to just put in a filler piece and bring it out. Every cabinet's different, but I hope this gives you an idea of how to lay things out, and take your time, and it should work just perfectly for you.